Hey Rick, how are you?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Good. Um, I guess first, Rick, how is Ian doing?
He's fine. He's practiced yesterday.
So he's gonna play?
Yes.
Rick, have you thought will you start him or is that something
Probably
that you
not.
think?
No.
Okay.
But he's been at all of the practices since the last game.
He's been to yesterday's practice.
Yeah.
Rick, obviously you guys won the Big East regular season last year. If you sweep this series with UConn, you're in pretty good shape to repeat. What would that mean to the program to have a chance to win the regular season title 2 years in a row?
I guess we're not really not. It would certainly be great, but we're really not thinking about that. I think we're just focused on getting. Our motto's been from the beginning of the year: get better every day, play every game the same, and it's been that way. It's worked for us. The team believes in it, so that's the way we're approaching it.
Do you take anything out of the fact that you guys beat Creighton by almost 30 and Creighton beat them, or it's just every night's
No, it's all a matter of styles. For instance, Creighton beat one time Xavier by 40. Connecticut beat this other team by a lot. Um, every game in the Big East is different. It's a different matchup. Certain teams play. Xavier plays us really well, um, and it's just a different style. Teams bring difference. Providence played us really well. Different teams play teams differently, and we've played Creighton really well. So you can't put too much into that.
Rick, I was like just reading back on things that were written and said during last season, and you guys are 22-5 now. You were 23-4 then. One big difference is that you were pretty adamant at the beginning of the year that any team in the Big East can beat you guys. Last year's team was talking at this point in the season about like, we expect to win every time we take the floor. Has the we expect to win thing taken hold with your guys, or are they still now dealing with the whole like anyone can beat you?
I just think we last year's team is totally different than this year's team. Um, a dynamic backcourt, certainly, and this team is different. We just every practice, every game, we understand that we could get beat if we don't play well.
It just the reason I was asking is it just seemed like there was a sort of confidence about that like drove last year's team, whereas this year's team seems to be more like a hatred and fear of losing.
Roger, the thing that you like and you don't like about this system today is, you know, this team is there's no continuity from last year's team at all. And next year there'll be no continuity. The only continuity is both teams have won in a big way, which is great. But last year's culture is totally different than this year's culture. The makeup is totally different.
What do you like about this year's culture?
Well, remember, you have three freshmen that are all hurt, maybe out for the season. KO's now out. Um, and last year, you had a group of guys that were, you had RJ Louise that was super confident. You had Zuby, you had Kadari super confident. You had Davon Smith super confident. Um, so, they were a different culture altogether than this group.
Rick, when you look back at the first UConn game, you only made five threes, but you obviously turned them over a ton, and the rebounding component really helped you. Do you How do you look at this one tomorrow? Like, are there certain things you guys have to do? Like, do you need to make more threes? Like, how do you look at the second time?
Well, for some reason, and I have my theories, and I'd rather not say it, but we shoot better on the road. Um, but we are going to have to make some threes, certainly. I think they're going to adjust and go bigger than they did at home. They did a little bit against Villanova as well. So it'll be a great. It's always been great games against Connecticut. We expect another great game.
You have to play. I mean, to win this game tomorrow, do you have to play your best game? I mean, do you look like it's obviously
No,
there?
you always ask me those crystal ball questions, and I can't answer it because it's all conjecture. You never know. You never know who's going to get in foul trouble. You never know who's going to play well. You just don't know. That's why it's fun looking forward to the game.
Rick, coaches around the league that saw Bryce like coached against Bryce at Providence and now have seen him with you guys have said that, he's back to kind of what he was pre-injury and he's better at certain aspects of the game. What have you seen kind of in his development over the last several months to the level that he's got to today?
Well, I didn't see him back when he was at Providence, so I couldn't tell you about that. But he is playing good basketball. He's much more assertive. He's much more confident in his abilities. I think, like anything else, he's passing the ball well. He's rebounding well. He's driving well. He handles the ball great on the break, like Dylan Mitchell does. You've got guys. Those two guys probably are the best on the break handling the basketball.
Rick,
Rick,
I know that
after the last game, McDermott said Bryce is a much better defensive player now than he was at Providence. What have you thought of his defense the last 2 months or so during this streak?
It's getting better and better every day. He was he was not a very good defensive player when we started, but neither was half this team. It wasn't just him. The only good defensive player was Zuby and Dylan, and everybody has gotten significantly better.
He went down, he dove for a loose ball the other day, which was stuff we hadn't seen from him early in the year. Um, has his effort been kind of different lately?
He's adjusted. Different programs have different practices. It's and our practices are we get after it in practice, and other places maybe they don't. I know certainly Connecticut gets after it. I know Seton Hall gets after it. I haven't seen some of the other practices. It's everybody has a different way of doing things, and so he's adjusted very well to our practices, and he's had great practices the last month, and so is the rest of the team.
Rick, I'm not suggesting that you would like talk to the team about this, but for you personally, I mean, do you take a look at this Connecticut game as like a potential doorway to something much better in terms of placement inside the NCAA field or location inside the NCAA field?
I went to a Final Four as a six seed. So Roger, as crazy as it may seem, I really don't look at these things at all. Um, I know you guys do, and everybody does in the media, but I really don't care about any of it at all. I just want to make the tournament. I don't care what seed we are, where we go, how we play. We won a national championship. I think we were in Seattle. So, I really don't care about those things. I just want to continue to play great basketball the way we're playing right now. That's the most important thing to me. The rest of it is the future. The future will take care of itself on Selection Sunday.
Rick, I mean, Danny, that's kind of the opposite of what Dan says. He talks about, wanting to go in the East region, Philly to DC to Indianapolis, and, how they could just kind of stay close to home for their fans. Is that not something you think about much? Like that, maybe the chance to play in
Well, I
Philly?
don't think about it much that, Danny has his way of thinking, and I'm sure Kevin Willett had his way of thinking. Everybody thinks differently, but, I've been around this game a long time, coached in a lot of places. Um, if our fans can get on a plane wherever we go.
Okay.
Rick, what have you thought, the defense, especially the second half Marquette and then Creighton, was there something specific that you liked about how you guys guarded?
Zach, it's all scouting. It's not
Right.
really defense. It's they're honed in now to scouting. Um, when you make a lot of mistakes, like I'll give you an example. I called a timeout and I was really upset at Bryce as well as Dylan Mitchell in the last game early in the second half because they blew a scouting assignment that we went over 1,000 times. And so it's all scouting. It's all the defense that sometimes you hope you're right 100% of the time. You're not always going to be right, but you want your guys to play pick and rolls a certain way, screens a certain way, and you want it to be meticulous without any mistakes at all. And if you can bat 95% of the time, then you're going to have a good defensive game. And the defense has gotten a lot better because they're honed into scouting really, really well.
Rick, you mentioned UConn probably going bigger. You obviously hurt them inside in that first one. How would that change the way you guys operate, or does that not change anything for you guys?
It won't change too much for us. We know what we have to do to try and beat them. And if we don't accomplish what we set out to, obviously we're going to make some changes. They're going to make some changes. And we know they came into a great environment at Madison Square Garden. We're going to go into a great environment in Hartford.
Rick, I'm struggling to remember if you've used a coach's challenge this season. And I was just curious, what is your attitude about how to use them, when to use them, whether to use them?
I like saving them, Roger. I don't like. I don't know what gaining one possession in the first half is going to do for you as far as the outcome of the game. Um, if it's a real tight game, I may use, but I like to save them. I think I used it one time. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe I used it one time. But I like saving them to the end of the game.
Do you like that addition to the game's rules?
I do, but I also would like to go to the NBA rule where you can challenge a call, period. There's a
Rick,
referee. Look, referees, it's a very difficult game to officiate. It's a fast game, being refereed by men that aren't in the shape of players. So it's very difficult for them to officiate, always have good vision to it. I'll question an official and I'll say, I just watched it. You didn't have that call right. And they'll say they looked at it and I just drop it. I try not to get on officials. I've been involved in games where they've lost me games, and it on the road a few years ago. You've seen that, and I've been involved in games where the officials call won me a game, and maybe it was incorrect. So officials are human beings; they make mistakes, as coaches do, as players do. But it's a tough game to officiate. I just try to ignore them, stay off them, because the more you get on them, the more you take away their focus of refereeing the game.
Rick, do you guys not I know you're not gonna if you do have this, you're not gonna tell us, but is there something about Damari that you guys know? Because 2 games, 19 turnovers.
Well, I believe he also had 5 or 6 against Villanova, didn't he?
Uh I'd have to check that. I mean, yeah, I guess so.
I think he had a lot. No, I think we're a pressure team. I think, we get after you full court. We probably turn people over more than the norm with pressure, but he's a great player. We've got great respect for him. He's one of the premier guards in the country, so we certainly have great respect for him.
What anything you think reason you've had so much success against him, or just your style play, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's more the style than anything else. It's not his weakness. We just more style.
Rick, the way that Connecticut plays, they have certain lineups that are much stronger defensively and certain lineups that are much stronger offensively. Uh, in order to beat the Red Storm, do you need a more defense heavy lineup or a more offense heavy lineup?
That's for you to write, Roger.
Rick, I mean, was it 18-2 last year in the conference, 15-1 this year? Is there a secret formula to all this success um, coming back into the league?
Yeah, get unselfish offense, teach great defense, get players who really care, build a culture of winning. I thought the first year's team was an NCAA team. We didn't get the bid, but that was also a terrific team. So we've had 3 great years. They're all different. They're all enjoyable. Uh, had a blast coaching all 3 teams, but it's building a culture of winning, a belief in defense and offense, the way it should be played. And we're very excited about St. John's basketball right now.
Rick, about this time last year, uh, you were quoted after a game as describing Zuby as the most valuable player, RJ as the most outstanding player, and Kadari Richmond as being the most clutch player. Assuming that Zuby remains the most valuable player, which I think everybody would agree about, have you got superlatives on the most outstanding, most clutch, most anything else?
I think Zuby's the most outstanding player. I think Dylan Mitchell's the most valuable player. I think the clutch player is obviously, you know who it is. It's Big Bells. How's that, Roger?
Ah, it's pretty good. I think it might appear in print.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Rick.
Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
See ya.
How you doing?
Not bad. How about you?
Doing good.
Magazine cover was pretty cool, huh?
It was real nice.
Was that your first time ever on like the cover or something like that?
Oh yeah, that was my first time. I always used to grow up and look at stuff like that and see it online and stuff like that. So just being a part of something like that was very cool as a kid. So
Did Zuby tell you guys if he liked this year's cover or last year's cover more?
he hasn't told us yet. I have to ask him after this.
Bryce, you yesterday or Saturday, um McDermott from Creighton said like he feels like you've kind of got back to what you were before the injury and thinks you're even a better defensive player. Excuse me. Like what do you think about where you are now? Like, do you feel like you're back to kind of pre-injury, and do you feel like you are a better defensive player?
Well, I do feel like I have definitely gotten better on the defensive end. I feel like it helps with, the preparation that we do in practice and, the coaches not letting us slack on the defensive end. But I do feel like I'm playing some good basketball right now. I feel comfortable on the court. And I feel like a lot of that it took time to, adjust to the playing style here, adjust to playing with a whole group of new players. And I feel like right now we're doing a great job and we're playing off each other and we're playing some good basketball.
Bryce, how much do you think your experience of, knowing what the Big East has to offer on a night in, night out basis kind of helped the transition in this winning streak for you and getting more comfortable?
I think it helps a lot. Like you said, I've been in the Big East, well, for now almost 4 years, I think. Not playing all the time, but just being in the conference and knowing what the conference is about, the physicality that people play with, the preparation that it takes to play at a high level, and playing against some similar coaches around the conference. So, the experience definitely helps. And being out from my injury and stuff like that, I think it allowed me to, sit back and actually like buy into, what the coaches want, the playing style of certain teams and stuff like that.
Bryce, what would it mean to you guys to win the Big East regular season title? Obviously, they won it, last year. If you guys sweep UConn, you're in a pretty good chance to win the regular season. What would that mean?
It would mean everything. That was our goal at the start of the season, and we're in a good position right now. We have a few more games left that we have to, lock into the scouting reports, and not take anyone lightly. Like you said, we have a big game coming up tomorrow against UConn. That's going to be a big game to figure out who's going to probably win the conference. So it's going to mean a lot to me to win the Big East conference. I haven't done it yet, and I hope this year is going to be the year.
Bryce, did that first game you guys kind of overwhelmed them inside, and Hurley said he felt like they got punked. Do you expect them to try to take it to you guys, like be the aggressor? And, what are you kind of expecting out of them after the way the first one went?
100%. I feel like they're definitely going to come with some different looks towards us. They're probably going to be more aggressive. They're playing at home, so there's going to be a lot more energy in the building. Probably going to be playing more harder. Not saying that they didn't play hard the first game, but just feeding off their crowd's energy and stuff like that. It's going to be a great environment. And they're definitely going to come with a different look for us this time around.
Bryce, I got a question sort of just about like general team confidence at this point, having won 13 in a row. We heard Coach P say, early in the season that like any team in the Big East can beat us. Have things evolved from like anyone can beat us to we expect to win yet?
I think our confidence as a team is we expect to win, but I don't think by any means that means that we're overlooking any opponent because we do have in the back of our mind that we have to respect them, and it's on our mind that any team can beat us. So I mean, I feel like as a group, our confidence level tells us that we expect to win, but we still respect our opponents for sure,
So do you expect to win on Wednesday?
100%.
Bryce, from where you guys were 6, 7 weeks ago to now, I mean, it it's got is there any party that's surprised to see, how much has changed in not that long of a time?
I don't think it took me by surprise. I feel like I said, it just took us some time to, buy into our roles and know what coach expects of us. And I feel like that came with time. Like we have a whole new group of people playing with each other. So obviously the games at the beginning of the year, they didn't go as we expected it, but we didn't get blown out by those teams and we were in every single game. So I feel like it was just some minor things on our end that we needed to focus on and, come together on. And I feel like that just took time. And I feel like that's a big reason on why we are where we are right now.
Bryce,
Bryce,
as a player, what's the biggest challenge to playing a team for the second time in a season?
I think the biggest thing is, with great teams, they're going to come with different looks. It's not going to be like the first game. There's going to be different counters to plays and stuff like that. So I feel like it's just the level of preparation, knowing that, well, being able to expect the counters of what coaches may come with, and just our level of communication is going to be very key on playing teams the second time around.
Bryce, if I could just like go back to the confidence thing. How many games in a row did you guys have to win before you developed the expectation that you would win every time?
Um, That's a good question. I feel like it's not really a thought in our mind like how many games we're winning. I feel like it's more just the preparation that we are in practice, and not overlooking any opponent. I feel like we can't overlook anybody, and I feel like just the group of guys we have in the locker room, we're all focused on one goal, and that's to compete for a Big East regular season championship. And by doing that, it takes a high level of preparation and practice every day, no matter who the opponent is.
Coach
Br-
P also said that he credited a lot of the success that you guys are having right now to attention to detail, like scouting reports and knowing other teams' tendencies. Like like what was the process by which you guys started to be good at that?
Um, I feel like the process, I feel like it comes from the games where we don't do as good as we plan to do, and just taking that as a learning lesson. We come in the next day and we watch film and we see where we can improve. And I feel like, whenever we're coached, where we don't perform to coach's expectations, he's gonna, show us the film, and then from that film we go into practice and we try to work on that. And I feel like that's where it comes playing better on the scouting report.
Bryce, what would a win tomorrow night say about this team's, March potential and the direction you're headed?
I think it'll show that we're serious, and we're real contenders. I feel like, going into a great environment and a tough place to play in, and coming out on top, that's going to show what this group is all about. It's going to show our mental capacity, and it's going to show how hard we're locked into the defensive end and the scouting report.
Bryce, can you explain why this team has performed so exceptionally on the road, not just winning games, but also like your shooting numbers compared to road games to even MSG games are much higher.
I think that helps with having a veteran group, guys that's been in tough environments, guys that's faced some adversity and stuff like that. Being through or going through the process, and playing on tough roads and tough environments. I feel like that helps as having a veteran group, and just being with a team that's been there before. I feel like that's what helps us, in those tough environments on the road.
hey Bryce, I had a question just to flash back to that Providence game real quick. It seemed like when the fight started, you kind of, walked a little bit towards mid-court. Were you doing that to kind of remove yourself so you didn't, get involved in the fight or get ejected, or were you just trying to kind of clear your head, or what was your thinking there?
It was a little bit of both. I feel like Oswin, my former teammate, he pulled me off to the side, and then I just walked back to the half court line, just to clear my mind, not overreact. It was a hostile environment. I didn't want to do anything based off of my emotions, and I wanted to be the bigger person. The biggest thing for us was just going in there and get the win. And I'm glad that we did that.
It seemed like your dad was maybe taking some heat, some abuse from the fans. Were you worried about his health or safety, or did he mention anything about that?
No, he's a strong man. I wasn't worried about him. He handles it well. And he was expecting it. I was expecting it. We see everything that people say online, but we're not focused on that. We're playing for something bigger than any narratives that people are trying to create.
Hey guys, we got to get Bryce to stretching now. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Bryce. See you tomorrow.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Bryce.
Bryce. See you guys
All right.
tomorrow.